As challenging as that was, at least we could see and we fully understood the danger of getting beaten up. A month later, however, many of us faced a threat arguably more dangerous but impossible to see when we raced to Japan to cover the earthquake and tsunami. The scope of the damage at the Fukushima nuclear plant was not understood in the first several days of the disaster, and the official advisories were not forthcoming. They were contradictory, they were vague. To get to the tsunami zone from Tokyo, we had to drive within 30 miles of the nuclear plant. Now, as a reporter, I've driven around plenty of danger, things you can see, you know, fires, battle zones, areas of civil unrest. But radiation, of course, is invisible. And you look out, and it's a sunny day, and everything looks great. You can't see, of course, the danger you're dealing with. Within a few days, it became clear the Japanese authorities did not know exactly what they had on their hands, but by that point, we had kind of driven past the plant. I was pleased to learn that NBC News had hired a radiation expert to advise the network on the best ways to protect the correspondents and camera crews and producers in the region. This expert had all kinds of computer gear. He ran estimates, wind projections, et cetera, and he determined at one point that we all needed to get away from the coast right away. So I had just finished doing an NBC Nightly News live shot, and I got a call from our producer in Tokyo who says, "Do you have a map?" And I said, "Yeah, I have a map." She says, "Get it now, get it now." And I grabbed the map, and she goes, "Can you find Yamagata?" And I'm, you know, "Yeah, I find Yamagata." And she says, "Go there now." I said, "What's up?" She goes, "Just go there now. We're evacuating everybody." So we end up driving into the mountains 2 hours away from the shore. We ended up in a small traditional Japanese hotel, and all the other correspondents were all kind of filing in, a little dejected because we're all about, you know, danger and getting to the story, and suddenly we were out of the game. And once again, as we were in Egypt, we were on the phone with the bosses in London and New York trying to figure out how do we get us out of this mess in a safe way. I think the, you know, we were also being rattled by constant aftershocks, and I think the thing that got all of our attention was when the experts said, we're going to leave a few people in country, but we need to get folks out of there, and any woman of childbearing age needs to leave right now. Well, I'm not a woman, but it takes two to make a baby. I'm not expecting to have more kids, but I kind of wanted the option. So I took that as a pretty serious warning. But it was just bizarre to be in that situation again, huddled around a table with colleagues, trying to get out of a dangerous situation it ended up being the second time in less than 2 months. They eventually worked out a plan to get me and my crew back to Tokyo, where, believe it or not, we drive, and they told us to roll the windows up and all kinds of things to avoid getting fried. And they said, "Well, call when you're 10 minutes in the hotel." So we call, we pull up in front of the hotel, and there is this NBC radiation expert with a Geiger counter in hand. And he wants to scan all of us. So we're like, all right, whatever. So we're sitting there and he's scanning head to toe, and he gets down to the feet and are you kidding me? Apparently we had walked through some radioactive dust at some point, and there was a reading on the bottom of our feet. And he said, "It's not a lot, it's a percentage of a fraction of a whatever, but it's not a big deal, but you can wash it off. We need to wash the bottoms of your shoes." So we all sitting out in this hotel driveway, and they bring a bucket and we're scrubbing our shoes. Mine didn't come clean. They kept going off. There was some rubber sole thing, so he said, "We're gonna have to bag your shoes and toss them." So this is about an hour before I'm supposed to go live on the Today Show. So I call New York, and I said, "Look, here's my story." And I said, "You know, this thing happened, you know, they tested us, and there was a little bit of radioactive." I said, "Do you want me to mention it?" And they said, "Well, yeah, mention it in the end, kind of anecdotally." So at the end of this thing, I said, "Hey, Matt, and by the way, you know, we apparently, you know, walked in some radioactive dust." And I kind of, you know, didn't make it a big deal. Well, I think it was Huffington Post and some other websites picked up on it. Lester Holt exposed to radiation. My mother in California reads this, and she freaks out. My wife reads it, she freaks out, and it became this legend of Lester's shoes. It really wasn't a big deal. I mean, occasionally I'll walk into a room and the lights will come on by themselves. But I did notice my hair is falling out. But then maybe because I'm 52, so I don't know. But it became kind of a legend. So then eventually they get us out of Japan. They put me on a plane nonstop to New York. Get to New York, just happy to be home. Walk onto the jetway, and there's a guy from Customs Immigration Enforcement with a Geiger counter. Everybody who stepped off the airplane got scanned, and all I wanted to do was look at him and, really? Really, way to do this? Fortunately, I got through their flying colors. To this day, I wonder what happens if I tested. Would they lock me up? I don't know what the half-life of my shoes was, but I got rid of those shoes. Anyway, where am I? Anyway, these are exciting times. That's what I want. These are exciting times in journalism. It was an incredibly busy news year last year. Of course, we had the Gabrielle Gifford shooting before all those events last year. It kept us quite busy, and these will be busy times as well. Despite my personal disappointment with the state of politics, I think we are all very pumped up to cover the drama of the 2012 election. Don't maybe come back here, though, in December, okay? And of course, there is a slow-motion drama of the economic recovery. There's the question of whether we can continue to add jobs. And then there is Iran and the threat to close the Strait of Hormuz. That remains a potential flashpoint, a very dangerous part of the world. And in addition, at NBC, we are looking forward to covering the Olympics in London in August. So it's going to be a very big year. Television, in my view, television news remains relevant. It's healthy. It's vital to our society, as vital as it has ever been. These are tough times, and that calls for a greater sense of responsibility and for us to stand up and do what we're capable of with all this amazing technology that we have and our ability to mobilize. Many will argue that TV news is less sober and that we're obsessed with entertainment, but at the core, no other medium can mobilize to cover the big story like we can. What has probably changed most about TV news, in my opinion, is not our content, but it's a sense of accountability. We pay for our mistakes in ways that we didn't used to, whether getting lampooned by Jon Stewart or hung out to dry on YouTube, or you've got accuracy groups that are measuring every second of and every word of what we say, looking for signs of bias. We recognize that everything we do lives on. When I started in the business, if I made a stupid mistake or said something stupid on the air, the viewers would say it and like, he's an idiot, and they'd yell back at the TV, but you know, within a week or two they forgot about it. Well, now you just click it on and on YouTube, and you get to watch what an idiot you were over and over and over again. You no longer have to shout back at the TV. You can go to the internet and hold our feet to the fire. It's painful, it hurts, it's stupid sometimes, but at the end of the day, a little accountability is good for all of us, and the reminder that that we too have to hold to high standards. And to the extent that you as viewers have tools now to call us on stuff, I think that's a good thing. Journalism has become a two-way street. You're a part of it, and we invite your participation in all of it. And before I open up to question, can I just get something off my chest? Because a lot of people, and I've heard it here today, and I got stopped in the hotel elevator, you work all the time. Don't you ever sleep? I don't really work all the time. Just so you know, some of what you see is on tape. The nightly news and the Today Show, of course, are live, but some of what you see me do is on tape. So I'm not always working. Sometimes you're watching me and I'm sleeping. I just had to say that. I had to get that off my chest. Anyway, I came with these prepared remarks, but what I really wanted to do was answer your questions, because I want to talk about what you want to talk about, and I know that we have a mechanism for that. I think we're going to hear from the students first, right?
Indeed. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you for your attention. How do I do this? Okay.